What is up, guys? Welcome back to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Xavier Turbos. Round 21 is in the books and looking forward to round 22. It is a bunch of headaches, more injuries, more guns on the table for purchase. But I am joined talking about table. We're talking about the actually, there's nothing to do with what relates to you, but Carl McGra is on the line. Carl McGra Accounting. How are you, Carl?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Not too bad. So you've been ranked pretty high this year.
Yeah, I was flying a couple of weeks ago. I think I got up to 131 or something like that was where I peaked, which is best rank for me ever. So I was pretty excited. But a couple of bad decisions in the last couple of weeks and, yeah, not so good right now. But anyway.
Where are you ranked at the moment?
I think coming into this week, I was in the 300s, but I think I might get some more red this week. I was in the, what am I at now? 1235 this week. I vice captained Cleary. Probably should have taken the loop. Thought about doing it, but I would have, because I didn't have Munster, I had no 5'8". So I would have copped Kane Bradley, who was on about 13 or 16 or something like that. So I decided to run with Hines, and yeah, in no pun, hindsight, it didn't work out too well.
Oh, wow. So you had a free loop with no Munster? Oh, no, Munster already played?
Yeah, Munster had already played, yeah.
So
well,
who's your backup?
played. So I would have got the AE of Bradley for that, and I would have had to have dropped out Ruben Garrick, which turned out to be wouldn't have mattered at all. But yeah, at the time I really didn't know what was going on.
Well, you're still in a pretty good position. I think 1235, you won't see too many red arrows. I reckon you go down to maybe 500 at worst. Yeah, it's a pretty good week, and you've got really, really a lot of trades up your sleeve, don't you?
I still got 8, yeah.
That's a good amount for the rest of the season, I reckon. So you can make some moves over the next couple of weeks. For myself, I scored 1340, put the captaincy on Nathan Cleary, and Jerome Hughes, the one that was injured on Thursday night. I think I was nearly going to do an emergency podcast on Thursday night, but I'm just getting worked to the bone at the moment. So I was just like, I'll take sleep. But I feel like I've had a few days to dissect it, and my initial thoughts were, my initial trade was Daly Cherry Evans to Nathan Cleary. So I had Daly Cherry Evans and Jerome Hughes in my side. And then I reversed that, planning to get Cleary next week. But then 2 minutes before the game, when I saw all the words that Nathan Cleary was practicing goal kicking in warm-up, I was just like, nah, it feels like the week where all the guns are going to go really, really big. And they did. Nathan Cleary, 119. I put the captaincy straight on him too. I had the vice captaincy of Scott Drinkwater locked in with a free loop as well. So my auto emergency was Charlie Gomez 60. So I was sitting pretty good to just activate the loop, but just a part of me felt not every single super coach got in Cleary this week. So I was just like, I've got to pull the trigger here. I've got to try and make a difference. And it did. I feel like I'm a little bit above par, and it was a good decision for myself. But now moving forward, I've still got 3 injuries in my side that I have to deal with. And that's Jerome Hughes, Dylan Lucas, and also Tino is going to come back later in the year. Jerome Hughes probably out for the season, and Lucas is out for the season. And I have 2 trades left. So I am sitting in an awkward position. I've got enough depth to cover it. But I think I don't regret making that trade, because I feel like it was a good thing. And it probably set me ahead probably about 100 points as if I would have if I just held the trade for this week anyway. So now I'm planning on not using any trades this week and then reassessing next week. But first of all, Carl McGra Accounting, you've sponsored the show this year. Do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and about your accounting business?
Yeah, sure. So most of the people probably would have heard me. I've been into SuperCoach forever, years and years. Wasn't too serious at the start, bit of head-to-head type stuff, and was kind of pushed into getting a bit more serious when my son started getting better at it. Had to keep up with him, and started just by fluke, listen to the Champions podcast to get started. And then that sort of got me really addicted to sort of get bigger and better. So I jumped on and sponsored them for a while. And unfortunately, I think work and podcast and family life got a bit too much for Wilfred. And I'd already met Tim through them, really. Met him at a Magic round. And so, yeah, decided to jump on board with you guys. And it's been good fun. Had a lot of people come across and use my services already, which I really appreciate. Yeah, so meeting some good people, having some good. It's pretty funny when people ring up or email. You know, they'll go, "Hey, Carl, I want to get my tax done, but so what are your trades this week?" And things like that. So, sometimes it's the first question before they even start talking about what they need. It's sort of, like say this week, someone might get in touch and go, "Yeah, so I heard you on the SuperCoach Experience podcast. Who are you going to get for Hughes?" But yeah, good fun. Yeah, good to meet some people and all that sort of thing. It's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's how it works out. Like Timmy was literally, we were calling up to talk about the podcast or something, and he's like, "Oh, I was just on the phone to Carl. Yeah, we spoke for 29 minutes, and he was like, yeah, he's doing my tax, but we talked about SuperCoach for 27 of them. Yeah. 2 minutes I just booked in the meeting. So yeah, so I like that there's a SuperCoach that's relatable, that's in the service. Everyone needs their tax done every year. So any sort of things that are hot trends this year to look out for in terms of like claiming, like as an accountant, do the taxation office hit you up a lot?
Oh, not really. I mean, you kind of don't want to hear from them, just like anyone. I think they don't contact you unless you're in trouble most of the time. So thankfully, haven't really got the call for them about anything. But yeah, there's no real hot things that you claim every year or anything like that. It's more so you do usually hear before tax season. They'll go, "Hey, this year we're targeting blah blah blah." So kind of watch yourself. Don't if you get clients wanting to claim this, then make sure they've got the receipts or blah. It's sort of the same story all the time, sort of thing. But yeah, I'm pretty lucky. Most of the clients I've got are pretty good, and when you explain to them what they need to do, it's all good. My history, I've talked to you sort of before about this. I was a tradesman at the start before I started doing accounting. So I kind of know what it's like to be on the other side of the fence and not really know what you can and can't claim and all that sort of thing. So I find that helpful because it's not like I've been an accountant since the day I left school, sort of thing. And so I can talk to people straight about this and that and not overcomplicate things, I think.
100%. I'm very interested in that side of things. I always ask people, "Oh, how much are you claiming for this and that and sort of that sort of stuff?" So, not going to out myself here with what I claimed this year, but let's go to. Let's wrap up the week. And obviously Thursday night we kicked it off. The Roosters played the Storm, and the big one here was the Jerome Hughes injury, 31 points. The big question during the week will be what replacements. I think a lot of people go straight to Cleary. Is there anyone else you can see a argument for?
Oh, not really. I think I'm purely being selfish and looking at myself. I've got Cleary sitting down in flex. So I'll be going Hughes out and I'll still have Nico. So I kind of got the choice of anyone, but it's still, I feel like right now there's no real clear choices, full stop. Like a lot of us have got the guns in now. So it's really hard to find the next man up type thing. It's kind of, I'm going off subject a little bit, but the only one I could sort of look at because of their soft draw was Nickera for myself. And that might even suit you for your Lucas trade if you did want to go there. But I think they do have a buy coming up as well.
Is this Nickera from the Sharks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got him in my side, and I would have loved to have him this week, but obviously wasn't meant to be. But yeah, I think halfback wise, it's it's Cleary and Nico, and a lot of people probably won't have Cleary and then would have had the Hughes Nico combo this week. So I think if anything, it solves a headache for them. So it's probably a good time, if anything. Harry Grant really dominated that game. And I think this is a trend potentially going forward where Hughes out of the side, Pappy and Munster have been in and out. I think Harry's going to really take life by the balls here and really own this side over the next couple of weeks. Their spot in the 4 is it's probably not up for like the takings, but I think Bellamy would be very frustrated in their performances, and I think Harry Grant's going to lead the way. And I am glad I purchased him as my hooker a couple of weeks ago, because I think from here on out, he probably will finish the season like we really expected.
Yeah, I'd say so. The only thing I was looking at, just in previous years, when whether it's Munster or Hughes go down, Wishart's often come in and sometimes has been an option. I probably wouldn't go there, but you never know if they do hit a hot streak.
Yeah, interesting one there. I think he was the first thing I kind of said when Hughes went down, but I don't know. Part of me thinks they might go Pezzett just because Wishart off the bench really provides that utility. He's their perfect 14. I mean, Garlick's really come off the bench and done a job lately, so they could go either way. But this time of year, you probably wouldn't be playing a Wishart in any given matchup unless it was really soft, but Melbourne only have like 1 or 2 soft games for the rest of the year. Josh King, 94 with a double. Stefano Utakamano, 88. Nikamini, 67. Probably a good little score considering he was on like 25 with 20 minutes to go. So good outcome there. Eli Katoa, I think he's going to be an interesting one with no Jerome Hughes in the side. I think now the sit versus starts, he's going to be in the conversation whether you sit or start him on any given matchup now, whereas before it was kind of an automatic with him. But 36 points in a matchup like this, like it just proves that what Hughes does for him and puts him in the positions that he deserves to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a letdown, that score for owners. I know I was a bit let down by that for sure. He's one of many this week for me that just really underwhelmed us, especially at the start of the week. And maybe that is that whole, we just discussed Nickera will be a better play against some of these soft draw that the Sharks have got.
Yeah, 100%. We'll answer questions in the middle of the games, but moving over to the Roosters, Sam Walker, 80 points. Chupo, Teddy, 64. Connor Watson, 55. His usual 55 that he gets got shifted into the 5'8 slot. Wanganese Wase, 47. Had a bit of a shocker in NRL, had a few little moments here and there that were pretty good. With matchups in the coming weeks of Manly next week, the Dolphins a week after. I mean, it's not the worst 2 weeks. They've got the Bulldogs after that. Then they have Para, Melbourne South. So their draw is pretty mixed. So he is playable, but is he someone who you see in your final 18?
He's hard to play because I owned him and I played him this week, and I just felt like they really weren't going to him. I don't really understand why, because when he does get the ball, he's so dangerous and tackle busting and all that sort of thing. But they just, as an owner, you notice every time, and they just never seem to go that way. So probably not, I'd say.
I think this week it can be a pass for the Roosters side just because the Melbourne's right side defense has been their weaker edge. So I think it was obvious they're always going to target that left side. I think you've really got to look deeper into it in the future where you want him to be running at the opposing side's weaker defensive edge because I really think that he doesn't go looking for the ball enough for him to be a play if they're not attacking his attacking edge very often. So I think that's something to look out for in the future. I think when they are going up against a weak defensive edge, then it's golden. But I also think that a lot of the time the right side defenses are a lot worse than the other side. So We got some questions before we move on to the next game. We got Che Jordan, Nico can suck the diddly. Sarge Beer 365, 1351 with the C on Brayley, not the best captain pick with 11 players from my squad outscoring him. Yeah, that's a bummer. Could have hit that 1400 mark. Mitchell Finch, Jai Gray is a crazy pod for this Souths run. We'll talk about him when we get to Souths. And Luca Easton, 1181, brought in Hines instead of Cleary and put the C on Hines. I was very scared as a non-Hines owner this week, Carl.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was all pointing towards the Sharks going big. The way poor South have just been smashed by injuries, and last week just made me really excited about what Sharks were going to bring. And even to the point, and I won't talk about him again after this, but if it wasn't for the HIA, Nicker was in my side this week for sure. I really expected it to be a beat up, and credit to South, they were good.
They were good. And it's funny because, like, I always hope for these really defensive matchups where lower ranked teams really come out and really surprise the competition and come up with some sort of upset. But I didn't see it coming in any shape or form. I know Souths have done it with the Storm earlier this year. They've they've done it with the Storm twice this year. They've been really good earlier in the year, but I just thought they've run out of gas at this time of year. So thank you, Souths, for defending so well. Cowboys beat the Dragons.
So I was just going to say, it'll be interesting to see if they can keep it going for the last few weeks.
Yeah. It's kind of like, because their season is done and dusted, maybe it's just like, oh, okay, who cares? Let's just play without thinking, if that makes sense. And maybe they've just taken all the nitty-gritty stuff out of it, and they're just having fun at training, playing for each other more than necessarily going through all the shit during the week that most teams go through. All right, moving on to the Cowboys played the Dragons, and Tom Dearden, 165 points. They've got a pretty good run on the way home, and he'll be a tick above 600K. Not a bad option.
Yeah. He's a good player, and he's just getting better and better all the time. Maybe coming back from Origin, having that extra confidence. They all seem to come back with confidence after hanging around the best of the best for that 3-month period sort of thing. Could happen.
They really do. Scott Drinkwater 91, Reece Robson 74. Not much else doing here for the Cowboys. I was interested in Braden Burns, who punched out a 60, and Nanai was someone I was very interested in, 480K with their draw coming up. They've got the Sharks next week. They've got Parramatta the week after. And then they have Newcastle, Tigers, Broncos bye. I mean, I think I would have probably pulled the trigger last week. But yeah, I think he's still an option if you're feeling ballsy.
Yeah, it is. He's not a big base man, so if you think they're going to score a few tries, and he's definitely always a target for them. So yeah, it could go either way. You never know.
The Dragons, Jacob Little top score with 101. Tyrell Sloan 77 with the double. Clint Gutherson 59. Not much else doing here. I honestly have nothing to say about the Dragons. I think they've completely gone out of relevance for SuperCoach. They were very relevant earlier in the year, but I think at this time of year, you're probably not targeting any St. George players unless one of these hookers went down in Jacob Little or Damien Cook. But I think the hooker dilemma has been solved. It's Harry Grant, or it's Blake Brayley, or it's, you can still go with Connor Watson.
Yeah, I've got Connor, and I feel like I've made a wrong turn.
Yeah, I was on the phone with Timmy on Friday night, and he was blowing up about his hooker decision because he spent so long thinking about it, and me and Grant, the other co-host, were just telling him, don't worry, like, it's not that bad. They're pretty much neck and neck. At the end of the season, they'll probably average 2 points difference. He went Connor Watson, and I'm pretty sure me and Grant went Harry Grant. So we're sitting here not worried about it still, but completely wrong than we were a couple of weeks ago.
It could have been so much worse the week before because he crossed for that try when Nelson did the foul play before as well. So the gap could have been even bigger than it actually is now.
100%. So consider yourself lucky if you're a non-owner because it looks like the Harry Grant show is on its way. He's in good form. The Parramatta Eels took on the Broncos on Friday night, and Zach Lomax, 99 points. He's doing the damn thing. His last 5 scores, 81, 88, 86, 95, and 100. Oh, I did a trade last week. I think I did Karapani to Jermaine Asako. What I would have done to have gone to Lomax instead because I had the cash sitting there to do so. Oh, what an oversight from me.
Yeah, it is. He's just flying at the minute. And Para aren't. They won this game. I was at this game and wasn't really enjoying it, but they were good. Mitch Moses won it for him. He was just brilliant on Friday night. But yeah, back to the SuperCoach side of things. Lomax, he's just getting it done regardless of how the team's going. He's just, people talk about that must-have word. He's pretty close to it, isn't he? Like it's sort of if you don't have him, get him type thing.
Well, I have 2 trades left and I have 2 injuries, so I'm probably not going to get him, but he definitely scares me. He has, like, even without Moses in the side, he scored tries over the last couple of weeks. Does play the Storm this week. So, as we said, Nwanga didn't get any ball because they're running at Xavier Coates and Jack Howarth, who are just a solid edge right there with Sean Blaw inside him as well. Their combination is rock solid. So it's the other edge they'll be targeting, the Grant Anderson / Kane Bradley / Saul Falongo, whoever's there. They'll be targeting that edge regardless. So I think I can breathe a sigh of relief this week. But they've got the Cowboys the week after, who they got the Cowboys, they got the Rabbitohs, and then they got the Roosters, Warriors, and the Knights. They've got a pretty good run home, and judging off their performance on Friday night, I mean, I've been impressed with them regardless, but I think they're going to finish the year strong.
Yeah, and even looking at next year, they could, with everyone fit and firing, they could be good to pick up a couple of guys from that team because there's good signs for them. That's what I'm trying to say. Green shoots, if you're an Eagles fan, things are looking up, I reckon.
That's for sure. Charlie Geimer, 60 points. Charlie Geimer is someone who has been like the best thing for my SuperCoach team, but also the worst thing because a few weeks ago, he blocked a free loop for myself and I was blowing up. He actually scored 55 the week of that, but it forced me into captaining Jaden Campbell, who scored 8 when I had 105 on the table as a free loop. But we won't talk about that anymore because I brought.
I did hear that one, man. That was a good one.
So they played on Friday night, and heading over to Instagram SuperCoach data, he makes another 61K, so he'll be 450K with the 26 break even. I'm not really worried about his money because he's scoring above 55 very easily every week, and he's someone who you can genuinely play in your side now, which is I think that's nearly more valuable than what he's done for my team at all this year.
Yeah, no, that's fine. If he, and it'd be all base type stuff. So if he's just going to knock out that 60-ish every week, awesome. Just run with it. Cannot
100%,
complain.
100%. Silico says 2025, the year of Sav's all-time rants. I feel like I've had some pretty bad rants in the past, but it's just, it's always the Sunday wrap-ups. I come on here and I have the biggest rants in the opening 10 minutes and I get over it by the end, but I like to vent at the start of the podcast. So
it's probably fresh in your head, you know.
Sorry?
It's fresh in your head. You're it's still dirty from the game only just finished.
And it's funny, like I think I missed the Sunday wrap up last week, and I recorded it on Monday night. But I got a comment from someone saying, "Oh, on one of the YouTube videos, saying, oh, Savs hasn't turned up for the podcast because he didn't have Edwards." Mate, I would have loved to come on here and talk about why I didn't have Edwards and front up to it, because I feel like my content brain on, people love watching that stuff, and I just love to vent my frustration. And just really let it out, because it's a safe space, this community right here, because if they have Edwards or they've captained someone, they're feeling good about themselves, and they're watching someone who's feeling shitty about themselves, and makes them feel even better. But I'll never come on here and be like, oh, I told you so. I told you. I captained Tom Trbojevic for 150. I told you all to get him.
We've all been there, though. That's the thing. We've all made that decision and gone, nah, and then the bloke goes 150 and you feel like an idiot because why didn't I see it coming?
Yeah, it's pretty funny because I think these 150 scores come very they don't come when you feel like they're meant to come. Maybe sometimes they do, but I think when they come when they're not expected, that's when they hurt the most. When they're really expected, you're prepared for this 150 to drop on you, and to really you're prepared for that world of hurt. Whereas there are times where you're not prepared for it, and it's just like, what can you do? And you just really hate yourself for not really looking into it enough. So yeah, let's go over to the 3:00 game on the Saturday, and the Titans defeated the Warriors. This is crazy. Jaden Campbell, 115 points, someone I own myself, repaid the faith. He's been scoring well this year, and I think he's still at a very cheap price of 495K, 50 break even. So he'll go back up to about 550. I think he's still a decent purchase. Plays the Titans next week. So the Panthers next week. But then South Sharks, Warriors again at Seabus, and then Dolphins, Tigers. They've actually got a really good draw.
Yeah, not bad. That Panthers one sounds a bit scary, but but apart from that, it's not too bad. South next week. If the South we expect to show up, then he could be the next guy to go 150. Who knows?
He really could. Philip Sammy, 108. Not much else there for the Titans, but for the Warriors are starting to become SuperCoach not very relevant either. Leka Halasima, Mikey from our podcast got him in, and I was trying to talk him out of it because his high score was 80 all year. Well, he's topped that with 86 points this week. And I am glad he still pulled the trigger on the trade, because he was going with his gut. And 86, a very good score. He is a wrecking machine. They're calling him Lecker the Wrecker on the broadcast, which I thought was very good. And not much else for the Warriors. Tamari Martin, 65. Tanner Boyd, a solid 57. And yeah, not much else to mention from there, Carl.
I got Aaron Clark there, and yeah, he's had a couple of okay weeks, but not awesome.
He updated from 48 to 59. It looks like he's about at that 55, unless he gets an attacking stat, but he's kind of getting them line break and try assist most weeks. But when he doesn't, it seems like at 55, the minutes are they're not as big as we expected.
Yeah. But yeah, if he gets a couple of attacking stats, it can easily, get to 70, and then you're happy. But yeah, just I think maybe I saw it before the update. I think I saw it when he was in the 40s, and I was a bit disappointed. That game for me, I had him and Bo Fermor, and both of them just sort of, I was going, it's all right, but nothing sort of awesome.
Yeah, I got Bo Fermor in my side too. I was very worried because he went off with a HIA, and he looked. I was preparing to not have him next week, but then he came back on the field, which I was very stoked with. But he landed on his face, like I thought he was gone. So the fact that he come back and punch out a 50, grateful for that. Panthers took on the Tigers, and it was the Nathan Cleary show, 118 points. think like 4 try assists or something like that. Yeah, 3 try assists, a try contribution, and he goal kicked. That was the big thing. He's in your side. Do you see a case to go without him? I think whatever you say, whatever you say, he's a must in my eyes.
No, I don't see a case to go without him. I reckon, especially with Hughes going down now, if you don't have him, even if you've just got a couple of trades left, just do it. Like they've got a good draw. They're just on fire. They're playing so well. Like they could end up in the grand final again. It'd be amazing if they did, but it could happen. They're flying.
I am so keen to see it happen. I'm pretty sure last year when they made the grand final, they put up this Instagram post that was like, it was like all the media outlets saying, "Nah, they're done," and then it was like this montage of them and their run to the grand final or something. So I cannot wait for that this year for when they post that. Lindsay Smith. 120 points, 511K. Part of me thinks like I've been saying for weeks, and I just want to bring up this comment before I do say this. Silico says, haha, we flagged this player 2 weeks ago. I told you. It's funny when people say that, because if I say something a couple of weeks ago, I'll bring it up, and if I'm right, I'll try not to brag, but you've got to point out your wins sometimes. As a Broncos fan, you're a Broncos fan.
Yeah.
I've been kind of telling people and like telling Timmy and Grant that I didn't necessarily think you needed to get Haas in for the run home, just based on his injuries through Origin, and always at this time of year in the past 3 or 4 years, he hasn't finished the season. He hasn't finished the season and played every single game for the run home. So I was very wary when I was buying him in this week. I bought him in last week. I just kind of had to do it out of necessity because Kolomatangi was out for the season, and it was a no-brainer. So I'm not saying that I would have done otherwise, but like it just made me think, like, Lindsay Smith, 120 points. He's been doing the damn thing for a couple of weeks now. Like, look at his scores. He had a 33 a couple of weeks ago, but he's been very consistent this year. Yeah, Haas scored 60 with a broken back pretty much on the weekend, but I feel like Lindsay Smith is fresh in a Panthers side who are ready to absolutely tear the house down for the rest of the year. I'm not necessarily saying I should have done it, or I'm just saying I should have thought more about it.
Yeah, you could definitely go worse. And I'm backtracking a little bit to the Haas decision, because that's my 2 trades this week were really vanilla. Haas and Cleary in. So
were mine.
yeah. And being at the game, like Haas, you could just tell his minutes were way down. He kind of had not as many of those runs where almost usually when you're there's about 5 or 6 runs where you just go, he is just different. And this time there was maybe 2. And even right at the end, I don't know if it was on the telecast, but he was limping. I think somebody landed on his ankle a little bit, and it's turning into a bit of a scary own right now. And you also wonder, if they do start going well, will they also take him off the field? So you kind of can't win. If they're flying, they'll take him off. If they're not, a fully fit Payne Haas should have been on for more minutes when it was such a close game. So there's obviously some problems there.
I am very concerned, to be honest, because I 100% agree with you. And if they are winning games, there's nothing more scary than being worried about a player's minutes. And like, if he plays the first 30 and they absolutely just demolish a team away, there's every chance he's put on ice, and that could happen through the back end of the year. They're in a position where I reckon the Broncos are in a position where they can win a comp this year. And
roster.
sorry,
they've got the roster, but whether they can actually do it's another thing.
I don't think with Adam Reynolds. What are your thoughts on Adam Reynolds?
I mean, he's been the best buy we've had in years, but he's definitely coming to the end.
I think so too. I think he's been a great buy for your team. He fits the team perfectly, but I just think he's an all or nothing footy player, and he doesn't want to get into the grind. And if they're losing by nothing's going their way, he'll always go for the miracle kick to come up with the miracle play try. And when that works, he looks like a genius. When it doesn't, it just I don't see enough people kind of blaming him for the Broncos' inconsistency. I think it is him that kind of directs the team, and that's the reason they're like that. I think they need a halfback that's a bit more measured. But I hate saying that because I actually think he's a very good player. But I know it's just my vibe. And ever since I really clinched on to this idea, I haven't been proven wrong.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because that's their biggest fault right now. If there was a point on the weekend where they seemed like they were panicking, but there was 18 minutes or something like that left on the clock, and you'd think, and they are a bit of a all or nothing play type team, and Reece Walsh gets heaps of stick for that because everybody kind of blames him. But you're right. I've never really thought about it, but an experienced halfback should be the one running the team and reining that in a little bit, going, mate, you're doing well, but just let's just have a couple of good sets and build some pressure type thing. And they're not doing that right at the minute, and that's a big part of their problem, I think.
100%. I actually think, I'm a Manly fan, and I think Daly Cherry Evans is exactly the same player. Where a couple of weeks ago they played the Titans, they lost that game. They're up by, maybe it was the Titans, maybe it was someone else, but they're up by 2 or 3 tries. Third tackle, they didn't need to, but Daly Cherry Evans goes for a 40-20 kick, and I'm pretty sure it lands short. The next set, the Titans come up and score a try. There was another set where they're on the attack. Daly Cherry Evans' third tackle, they're attacking the Titans line. You're attacking the Titans line. Every chance you're going to score if you just wait it out and build pressure if you have to. Yeah. Third tackle, he goes for this little chip to the corner, and it completely misses his target of where Saab needs to go. And yeah, they go up the other end, and they turn the ball over, and then the next set, the Titans drop it or something, and then they're attacking again, and Luke Brooks kind of kicks the ball into the in goal on the full, and then they go up the other end to score, and then Titans go on and win the game. So, yeah, I think Daly Cherry Evans is exactly the same player as Adam Reynolds. I think they've kind of got to lean into that style, though, because I don't think you can kind of make them conservative halfbacks, because when it is going well, it goes great. And I think you've just got to lean into that and play. So sometimes you take the good with the bad. They were only 15 minutes away from a grand final in 2023, the Broncos as well. So they're doing a lot better than a lot of other teams. I'll tell you that.
100%.
Let's go to what else? Oh, so yeah, Penrith Panthers. Isaiah Yeo, 83 points, and Dylan Edwards, 85. They're becoming genuine targets. Yeo, you interested?
Yeah. I always think about Yeo from back in the old days when he used to be a jewel, and you get him at center wing. That was awesome. But yeah, he's definitely he's seen, again, white hot Panthers. Why not? He's going to be getting some points. And I'm even looking below that at McLean as well. Maybe.
We had some very eagle-eyed people in our Instagram DMs put out a call out for the Tuesday show for really rogue plays that people are looking for to end the year with. And 2 people said Casey McLean, and I would have not looked at that. And I think, yeah, very genuine. Next 2 weeks, Titans and Knights. Yeah, they do have Melbourne, Canberra, Bulldogs, St. George, but definitely you get 3 or 4 really good matchups. So I don't mind it. I think he's been really good.
Yeah, even if you just play him on matchup, and even right now, maybe Melbourne, they're not the defensive powerhouse they used to be. Like I'm not saying they can still win a comp, because they still could. They've got a great roster, but I just find I don't reckon they're defending like in the old days. They'd go and win a game 8-6. That doesn't seem to happen so much at the moment.
Yeah, and we looked at the SuperCoach stats the other day. They're averaging like 85 to fullbacks over the last 3 or 4 weeks as well. So, like they are leaking points. So, good shout there. And as we said, their weak side is their right defensive side, and that's where Casey McLean will be going. So, for the Tigers, Terrell May 74 just keeps on keeping on. Taylor May 49 points. Is that 49 points in 44 points in tackles? Oh wait, sorry, that's Terrell. Oh my god, I was so impressed for a second. 17 points in tackles, 8 points in tackle bust, 4 points in offloads, and 18 points in runs. So yeah, he didn't get any attacking stats. So 49 points, pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad. All right, moving on to the Saturday night game. Your captain, Nico Hines, 51 points. Pretty lucky to get 51, to be honest.
Yeah, no, poor old Sharks. They're lucky to get the win, really. Like, they didn't really play very well at all, I didn't think. Especially, like we say, Rabbitohs, how many people are they missing? You have to wonder if Rabbitohs had their full squad, they would have towed them, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. They definitely showed a lot more ticker than the Sharks. I think this was one the Sharks just thought they were going to rock up and win. This is very similar to the Friday night game where the Dragons nearly beat the Cowboys. I was actually, at this point, I thought the Cowboys should have gone away with it and they let the Dragons back in. I really wanted the Dragons to win to teach the Cowboys a lesson. In this game, I really wanted the Rabbitohs to win to teach the Sharks a lesson that they can't just turn off for games like this. But they got away with it, and hopefully they learned a lesson regardless. Mulatalo, 91 points. Timmy got him in this week, and I think it was a very good purchase. He actually downgraded Nwanganitawase to him, and by doing that, he was able to keep Cameron Munster and get in Dylan Edwards, and I think they were very good trades.
That's a big win, isn't it? He's clean.
Yeah, so I think Mulatalo 2 weeks prior had scored 50 in consecutive weeks without a try. Scored a try this week, had a load of tackle busts and offloads. And yeah, I think he looked really good this week. Blake Brayley 59 with a try. Did you watch the game?
I watched half of it. I think I caught the first half, but didn't see the second half.
Very similar both halves. It seemed like we're kind of back to the old Brayley.
Yeah. Do you put that down to everyone was a bit average this week, or or was it just? I guess what I'm saying is it a one-off thing, and you'd still, I guess, no one's really going to be trading around hookers right now anyway. You got to stick with what you got. But if you had him after the run he's had, if you had him, no one's going to be disappointed in 60. You're not going to get 100 every week, so I guess you just take it. But yeah,
100%. But if you haven't made the decision in hooker, just looking at the style they've played over the last couple of weeks and how they played on Saturday, it just worries me that it's not the style of play that they're going with isn't sustainable for the rest of the season, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What they're playing was such high energy, and I don't know if teams can, like, especially forwards, can just keep up with that week in and week out. I think there's got to be weeks where they can just rely on their defense and not really have to just be, play the ball, run. Like it is very tiring, that style of footy. So it does worry me that it's not sustainable, but it's undeniable how good he's been. And I think you really take the last 5 weeks as a sample over just 1 week, but as you said, a 60 is still great, and I'd still be stoked if I was an owner. Not much else for the Sharks. Trindell is a dud, but Jai Gray, 71 points, looked really good, and I think the Rabbitohs form kind of coincides with Jai Gray being in their side.
I think they said some statistic on the weekend about, and don't quote me on it, but it's something like with him in the side, they've won 5 from 7 or something like that. So bit of a good luck charm for him, that's for sure.
Really is. Ryan Gray, sorry, made 65 tackles, 64 points. Ewan Aiken, 63. Chance 46. Not much for the Rabbitohs. Anything else?
That Ryan Gray, just nothing to do with SuperCoach, but I don't think I've ever seen him play before. I thought he was great.
Yeah, he was really good.
I was impressed.
Yeah. Oh, actually, shout out to Lockie Hubner, 81 points. That try assist at the end of the game. Oh, I didn't know you're silky like that, bloody hubby.
I saw a good, he ran down a break as well. He had no show of catching him.
He did too. Yeah. We've got Silico here. Trindell is like a pick-me girl, but in the NRL. Did you see that play where I'm sure you're watching this game very closely when you were watching? There was a play in the first half, I'm pretty sure, where Brayley went to pass the ball to Hines, but like Trindell ran in front of him and took it instead.
I don't remember it. No.
Oh, it was so funny because when I was a Nico owner, because I owned a Nico earlier in the year, I don't own him at the moment. Trindell just pissed the living shit out of me because every time he'd call the ball over Nico, get in front of Nico, just bloody run on his side. And then when Nico came over to the left, he'd overcall him and just did all this, like threw crazy balls that didn't make sense. And when I saw this, I'm just like, this is why I didn't want Nico in my side, because I was sick of watching this combination and how much it just doesn't work. But yes.
It did seem like they'd gone away from it a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but
obviously, I think they kind of leaned into Brayley kind of picking his moments and them running off him. But hopefully it was just the Rabbitohs just playing a sort of footy that put them off their game. So nothing to worry about Sharks owners, because I think they're in a good position to make a good charge for the rest of the year. And as you said, they've got a really good draw, so they've got a good chance to sort it all out.
Yeah, get a bit of confidence.
Sunday footy, and the Canberra Raiders took on the Knights. Timoko, 128. Hudson Young, 91 points. I think if you're an owner, you're stoked with that. That's nearly another 100, which is great.
Yeah, I am an owner, and I am stoked with that. I bought him in last week. I nearly bought him in for Hosking, but then Lucas went down, so I did that trade. But I bought him in last week and played him. And then Hosking, who's I didn't play, outscored him. So I had the shits with that last week, but he came up trumps this week, and I kind of needed it to save my week a little bit, to have Hudson in this game, and then I know haven't got to it yet, but Kickow in the next one kind of made my score a little bit reasonable. Could have been a bit dire if they didn't go well.
Oh, it's funny. My second row was scored I think it was 130 points total. So the fact that you've got second rowers who put on a good amount of points for you this week, that's really good. I think Hudson Young's a great thing for the rest of the season, by the way. I actually, because of the Hughes injury, I was going to go, instead of going Cherry Evans to Cleary, I was going to hold off doing that trade and go Hughes to Cleary next week. I was just going to pull the trigger on Lucas to Hudson Young. I had that in my team for a little bit, but I reversed the trade and went to Cleary because I had a conversation with Timmy the day before, just saying you don't need to do the trade because you just want 15 more points now. You don't really need to do it. And I kind of agreed with him. I was going to make the conservative approach, but Nathan Cleary is a different beast, in my opinion. KO Week, 66. Tom Starling still doing a job, 67 points. But not much else for the Canberra Raiders. Anyone that caught your eye?
Just if you were if you did happen to play Corey Horsburgh, I reckon you'd be dirty, because I think he got denied 2 tries in this game. You'd be disappointed. Hey, it's gone out of my brain what actually happened, but I remember watching one and went, oh, geez, you'd be disappointed with that. And then actually, if I look at who scored the other one, I'll remember. It was the bloke with the mullet, the young guy, Noah Martin.
Noah Martin?
Yeah, it must have been Noah Martin. Yeah, they were standing next to each other and Martin jumped on the ball. And I just, it was 50-50 who was going to jump on it. And there was another one similar to that. And I just thought, geez, if you're on horse, he could have easily had a double in that. Which, 44 could have been who knows what. So, yeah. Anyway, he didn't, but geez, you'd be disappointed.
Oh, you would be. Kaipius Paul for the Knights, 88 points. Dane Gagai, super pod since going into fullback, 100, and he's gone really well. So he's gone over the last 3 weeks. He's gone 104, 93, and then 86 on the weekend. Their draw isn't the best, but I think he's doing it against tougher sides anyway. So I like what I see from him.
Yeah, he's flying. He must have his Queensland jersey underneath the Newcastle one.
Yeah, he's got the Queensland mode switched on.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's flying. So, yeah, if you got him in, nice work. I wouldn't have had the guts. Like, going to fullback, anyone at fullback you always sort of have a look at, and I quickly looked but just went, oh, no. Newcastle, they've got a few injuries. They're not flying too well, but he's killing it. I know I got one of the guys in my league got him, and he'd be wrapped because he really has had a great run.
You're probably not looking at him anymore because he has a bye than the Penrith Panthers the week after. So I think if you got him on, you needed to get him on as soon as you were named a fullback for you to benefit from that. And I know people that have. I think that was a really good move. So they're the kind of moves where you can make and not many other people can make it. So these moves are special. So good luck to you if you did get on. Let's move on to the last game. Bulldogs took on my Manly Sea Eagles. And, I was very hopeful for this game, but the Bulldogs just outperformed the Manly Sea Eagles. They played really well. Matt Burton, 119. Karaz, 114. Tracy, 109. Zeri, 109. Kick out, 83. Sam Hughes, 79. Lockie Galvin, a 60. Who stood out for the Bulldogs for yourself?
Karaz. He was just brilliant, like he always is. I did think Connor Tracy, he had a great game. He played really well in this one. Who else? I guess they were the main, you win by that much, everyone plays well, everyone looks good. Burton looked great. But yeah, Karaz and Tracy were the two for me, especially Tracy because, he's not really regarded as one of the top fullbacks going around, but geez, he was brilliant today. Manly were in it until they weren't. It was at halftime they were in it. There were no real hints that it was going to blow out like it did. So yeah, credit to the Bulldogs. They just powered on in that second half, unfortunately for you.
They did, and it hurts. It hurts because I was really confident that Manly could win this week. I was hearing a lot of Bulldogs fans just saying, the Bulldogs finally beating someone in a top 8 side. I think they get some relief that I don't think they're quite there yet. I think that they've definitely they're second and they've won all the games that they should, and they've even won more. So I'm just trying to find excuses for myself in why I think the Bulldogs are overachieving, but they're definitely winning a lot more than they were expected to. So yeah, they're genuine contenders. And if they get these combinations worked out, like I think with Crichton in the side just makes such a difference as well. Allows their edges to be even. Kick out is really good. And yeah, they genuinely pumped Manly. But Tom Trbojevic, top scorer for 72 points. I'm pretty stoked as an owner. I think I'm pretty happy. They've got the Roosters next week. Then they're going to a really good draw for themselves. Canberra, Tigers, Dolphins, St. George, and New Zealand. I'm very excited to own Tom Trbojevic for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
So for someone like me who needs someone in flex, would you do it? Are you that confident?
I think there's a good chance he plays fullback very soon. Lehigh, unfortunately, had a little bit of a shocker. I think defensively and effort, he's very good, but it's just obvious his ball playing and his timing is just so off. And there's no need to have him there when you've got the best fullback probably in the comp on his day playing in center. And he looks healthy. He looks good to go. I just feel like they got to make the decision soon enough if they are planning on making that swap later in the season. Because if they make finals, there's no way they make damage if Tom Trbojevic is in the fullback. So I do like what I've seen from Manly with Tommy at center. I think it kind of gives them another dimension, if that makes sense. Like Lehigh at the back, just with his strong carries. He's like an ant, so strong but so small. But then like Tom Trbojevic just chips in when he wants to, but I just think Tommy needs his hands on the ball just a bit more.
There was a point in this game, and I've got a memory like a sieve, so I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Connor Tracy broke the line and Tommy ran him down. And in my mind, I just went, wow, that's like Tommy full stride. Obviously, his body is getting close. Now that I've said that, I'll probably just put the mocker on him and he'll do a hammy next week. But, you know, for him to hit full speed and run someone down, when he was bad last year and stuff like that, there's no way he just couldn't hit top speed. And if he's doing that, then maybe that's the sort of thing that will push them to, you know, put him back to fullback. Because I agree, that's his spot, obviously.
Yeah, and I think after a loss like this, it probably gives them, it probably makes them question the decision. Like, could things have changed if Tommy was a fullback? Probably not, but I think with losses like that and faults in Lehigh's game, and the effort Tommy put in, like played so well, it's just like, okay, if we're going to get bullied by a team like this, then are we really putting our best selves out there if Tommy isn't our fullback? And I've kind of said this since the start that I think Tommy should be fullback, but I think it's getting closer and closer to the point where it feels like it's going to be inevitable. Like I thought for a period there, he would have stayed in centers. I kind of liked it, but I think there's every chance if pressure gets on Seabold that he'll make the switch and it might happen. So answering your question for Supercoach, would I do it? I probably wait till he comes to fullback. But that being said, I think he's scoring very well in centers.
Well, while you were talking, I was just sitting there watching it and you go, you're in a team that's gotten pumped 42-4 and you still get 72. Like, you've got to be pretty happy with that. Like, plenty of guys who've been beaten by that would be sitting there on, 25 or something. So I think that's a lot.
100%. And I actually think that playing at center is good for him because he's scoring 21 points in tackles where he was never scoring that in the past before. Like he'd make probably 3 tackles at fullback, 18 points in runs. So that's already 39 points, 6 points in tackle bust. So he's scoring 45 in base and power. Then he's got a try assist with a line break as well. Like, and a line break assist as well. I think like that's only 2 major attacking stats without a try, really. And he's really killing it, 72 points. Like you only needed 1 more big attacking stat from him, which the game didn't work out for him. They scored 4 points. So, I really like him, and his draw for the head-to-head finals is amazing. So it really depends what your priority is. Head-to-head finals, or are you going for overall? Because
this is my best year. I just want to shoot for the best overall I can. Not even I'm in head-to-head leagues and all that sort of thing. But to be honest, I look at them at the end of the week. I don't care. It's all about when I was in the 100 type rank, I was going, wow, I could go top 100 here, and I still want to keep trying to push back into that sort of area because I usually sit around the sort of 3,000 to 5,000 mark. So to be where I am now, I just want to keep pushing as high as I can. So I guess to answer your question, just whoever's going to score the most points. I don't really care about anything else. I actually thought about, and I'm probably moving on to what you like to talk about next, but I was toying with the idea of bringing Reece Walsh in next week just because they're playing South, but that was before this week. I'm kind of a bit scared now.
Well, the good thing is with Reece Walsh, I tend to find teams that are coming off losses perform a lot worse than they do than teams coming off teams coming off losses perform a lot better than teams coming off wins. So I think the fact that the Broncos have come off a really bad loss against a side who's coming 14th, 15th, and then Souths are coming off. Souths didn't win, but they're coming off a really good performance.
Yeah,
Can they back it up with all their injuries? I don't know if they can. I think Broncos absolutely demolished them, and people aren't going to be talking about Reece Walsh this week. You're a Broncos fan; it makes sense for you.
Yeah, I often try and stay away from them because I don't want to curse them, but I know what you mean. I purely on matchup. I was really high on what the Sharks were going to do to the Rabbits this week, and then I looked forward a week and went, man, this could be anything. I thought, probably too optimistic. I was optimistic that we were going to do a bit of a job on Para, and I thought we'd be able to back that up and really run home against South. But yeah, like I say, it's just kind of scared me a little bit. But I agree with everything you're saying. When they come off a loss like that, often teams are better. So yeah, it's definitely worth a crack. But it's wide open. I think I'm just going to open up my thing. I think next week there's some real what could be one-sided matches like Penrith versus the Gold Coast. But if Gold Coast don't show up, like Titans were awesome. Again, Titans were awesome this week. What Titans show up next week? If it's the normal leaky Titans against the Panthers who are flying, that could be a demolition. So do I?
3 p.m. at Seabus, like the driest track at the best time for SuperCoach.
Yeah. And the other one I looked at was Bulldogs and Tigers. I just think if Tigers don't show up ready to play, that one could get a bit nasty too. It's that time of year where some of the results start to get a little bit one-sided with teams that are gone.
100%. And I actually like Shark Park, 4 p.m. on Sunday. People are going to be off, Nico, but they're coming off a bad performance. And the Cowboys are coming off a win where I feel like they shouldn't have won, but will they get the kind of kick up the ass that they needed after winning that? Like,
and even Cowboys are leaky anyway, aren't they? Like they
100%.
They can still win. Like, look at this. This week, they won, but they still got 32 points put on them. So.
Silico says South's losing Whiten and Totola as well, so their injury toll only gets bigger. Ashton Ward is going to be starting front row. It's funny, Timmy was messaging me saying, look at the number 17. He looks like a little kid, like Winston Neville. And I looked up when Timmy said that, and he was like, he tried to make a tackle and he like fell off it. It was like really, really small, but he was very quick, had a lot of ticker about him. So
I saw a thing. I think he's Wayne Bennett said in the press conference he's 1 kilo heavier than Alan Langer was when he was playing. And I just sort of think that might sound like not much, but the guys are so much bigger now. I don't feel like there weren't many guys running around in the old days like Terrell May size, Payne Haas size, and all like that. They weren't 6'6" and all that sort of thing. They were big dudes, of course, but I feel like the guys now are so much bigger. So to still be at that same Alan Langer type weight, like how tough must he be?
Oh, yeah, I would have been shitting my pants, that's for sure. Anyway, thank you for jumping on, Carl. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks.
If anyone needs to reach out to you, head over to carlmcgrathaccounting.com.au or give you a call. I've been telling people they can call you, message you.
Yeah.
What's
You name it.
your
Yeah.
preferred
No,
contact?
whatever's easiest. Yeah. You give out my number every week. That's give me a call, no problem. If not, the website's got a link to my email address. It's got a page you can fill out if you got an inquiry, blah blah blah, whatever you want. The only thing I would like to say to anybody, if you do contact me, I will reply. I do get some people where it goes to their junk in their email. So just if you do reach out to me, I'm not ignoring you. Just check your junk file. Hopefully, you people often give me their phone number and their email, so I can text them and go, "Hey, did you get my message?" If not, but yeah, I always feel bad if I never hear back from people because I think, oh, they think I'm ignoring them, but no, I have replied. So yeah, just wanted to get that out there if anyone's listening.
No worries. All right, thanks for jumping on, and hopefully some fans reach out to you in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, cheers. No worries. Thanks very much for having me.
No worries. Thank you.
Cool.